My guest today is a technical and business analyst, an actor, a trailblazer, and a firm believer of the future of cryptocurrencies and basically the crypto markets and possibly crypto technologies, essentially. I met Gbola at an event a mutual friend organized, and we spoke a lot about the state of Africa, Nigeria, and cryptocurrencies. During the EndSARS movement, which took place in Nigeria in October 2020, the youth that were protesting and asking for good governance used cryptocurrency to finance the movement, as the Nigerian banks had blocked their accounts, thereby stifling access to funds, for which these youths used in feeding and then looking after themselves over a 2-week period. So I first heard about cryptocurrency back in 2011, and I thought, nope, sounds like scam, keep me out of it. In 2018, however, I started to learn more about blockchain technology, which led me back to cryptography and cryptocurrency. I mean, if I had a magic wand right now, I would go back to 2011 and buy me some Bitcoins. Well, so Gbola has been following the crypto markets for the past 3 to 4 years since Bitcoin crash the Bitcoin crash of 2019, I think. I am personally looking forward to learning more about Gbola's journey in the crypto markets and what we can all learn from him as well. Myself, I'm Gbola, an energy analyst, a sales manager, and a data scientist. And I love spending time with friends and family when I'm not podcasting. Before I continue though, I'd like to acknowledge the support of PaySop Invest, a global financial advisory and wealth management firm based in Germany, France, and Nigeria. If you're looking to create generational wealth and understand how to manage your finances, do contact the PaySop Invest team on their website, paysopinvest.com, or their social media pages. They offer services to individuals and corporate bodies alike. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome you listeners to the Blue Citron podcast, where we discuss journeys, lifestyle, culture, and more. As we like to say, it is more about empowered by Blue Citron. So, Gbola, welcome to Blue Citron.
Thank you, Bims. Thank you for having me. Much appreciated.
You're welcome. So with your journey within the crypto market, I am quite curious. You did say, you've been looking at this since 2019, past 3 to 4 years even. What has that been like for you? Why cryptocurrency? And what's next after cryptocurrency? Let's hear you.
Okay. Yeah, it's been quite a journey. I'll say, like most people, that come across, cryptocurrencies, the first thing you hear of is Bitcoin.
That's correct.
And everybody jumps in, oh, what is Bitcoin? Is it some kind of strange technology people use to illegally transfer money? Is it something on the dark web and all those kind of things? And then you're coming from there, and then you find out that, oh, okay, Bitcoin is actually based on a technology, cryptographic, technology. And then from there you go, you just start to discover, different kinds of currencies, such as, Litecoin, Ethereum, etc. But I think it's really important that everybody kind of understands that currencies, for example, like Bitcoin, which people use to transfer money, is basically a form of payment based on cryptographic technology.
Okay.
And that can be in the form of blockchains. Okay. It can be in the form of other what we call DLTs, which are basically distributed ledgers. So Bitcoin is a form of a distributed ledger kind of thing, and uses blockchain technology. But the important thing is what it allows you to do. Okay.
Right.
And the whole idea is that when it was conceived, the idea is that Bitcoin would be used as a currency that I could use to send money to you without any middleman. It was meant to be independent of government controls. It was meant to be independent of financial institutions. You would be your own bank. I would be my own bank. Therefore, if things happen in the larger society and there was government manipulation, like, devaluation of currencies, which happens in different countries and which has also happened in Nigeria, and it's controlled by the governments, that wouldn't be the case with cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin. Bitcoin has no central person who is actually, controlling it. And the initial inventor, of Bitcoin never even declared his own name. He used a pseudonym, Satoshi Nakamoto.
Yeah.
So nobody till today knows whether Satoshi Nakamoto is actually alive, dead, is it a he or a she?
And what that person looks like. Yeah.
Or what that person looks like. There is a suspicion as to, that one person may have an idea, or two people,
Okay.
But till today, we don't know who. Otherwise,
there was even a suspicion of Elon Musk.
I can assure you it's definitely not Elon Musk. And somebody has once claimed that they were the writers, the original writer of the Bitcoin white paper, and that he was Satoshi Nakamoto. And then while they were in court, because they were disputing some of the initial wallets that held so much Bitcoin.
Yep.
So, and then the court asked this particular person to, okay, if you're the owner, okay, what are the wallets? Some of these original wallets. Because he said he had custody of the wallets. He knew what the wallets were. And then during the course of the trial, somebody moved money from the original Bitcoin wallets.
Oh.
The first set of Bitcoin wallets. And when the money moved, the court then asked him, did you move the money? Can you prove it? And he couldn't.
Right.
So that's what brought into contention again as to whether he was legitimate owner of these wallets which were in contention. So till today, nobody, even the courts, know who Satoshi Nakamoto is or was.
Right.
Yeah. So that's kind of like a background. But the whole idea is that I can send money to you. We can do trade without in a decentralized manner. And when we say decentralized, it simply means that there isn't a central body, like a government, or a central institution like a bank. So, for example, in the example that you mentioned, where the youth in Nigeria were funding certain activities that they wanted to do because they had a cause that they were fighting for, and then the banks closed down on their accounts. Okay, but you can't close down. You can close down the accounts used to fund a Bitcoin wallet, but you can't close down the wallet.
That is right.
So as long as I've already moved the cash into the wallet, okay, and I've bought Bitcoin or whatever it is, I can send that money to whoever. The challenge that person would just have is how they get that money out, and convert it to a usable currency.
Right.
And that's where, governments tend to try and, when a government is upset about certain things, try to, prevent this freedom of financial movement, so to say.
Interesting.
Okay? Yes.
Interesting.
But you can do this with so many, other things, other currencies. So Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, all of these currencies, which are based on cryptographic engineering or blockchain technology, or a DLT, which is a distributed ledger, which is just what it is, you can do that. If I send Ethereum to you, you can simply have that Ethereum converted to GBP or USD, and then simply take that. In the same way, I can send you Litecoin. I can send you, others. One of the reasons why Bitcoin is, so preferred is because of the level of security that is engineered into the original design.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And why we say this is because when I send you a currency, those parts of the distributed ledger. So the distributed ledger just means that there are many computers, okay, that hold the same record of all the transactions.
Okay.
Therefore, the information is distributed. As opposed to if it was a bank and they'd have all your bank data on one server.
Yeah.
Okay. So therefore, instead of the ledger that holds the information, of the transaction being on one central server, that information is on thousands of different computers around the world, which are involved in the Bitcoin network.
Right.
And therefore, if one of them goes down, the network will still continue to work.
Which is very much different for the fiat, which is the banks. Yes.
Exactly. If your bank has a major problem, okay, and in some countries, the bank, you go to your internet, you just say, site not available, or please check back, those kind of things. And that's one of the benefits. It basically has automatic fail safe.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
The challenge people have with Bitcoin as a currency is that when you send money, because of the way the information is kept on all of these thousands of machines,
yes,
okay, each of them updates, and each of them has a copy of the entire network and all the transactions that ever passed through. So in a simple way of explaining it, it takes quite a while for each of these computers, which are referred to as nodes, okay, to now update and confirm the transaction.
Right.
And for each of the currencies that are used, a certain number of confirmations are required before it's said that the transaction is true,
okay,
and accepted by the network. There has to be that consensus between the nodes. And this is why a lot of times you hear that, Bitcoin, somebody sent some cryptocurrencies for me, I have to wait. I'm waiting, I can see one consensus, two consensus, and things like that. It basically refers to the fact that there has to be an agreement between the various computers or nodes, which are serving as nodes, that are actually processing it. And that's how it ensures the security.
Interesting.
On the network, yes. So that's basically, the very simplistic, a simple way to kind of explain how it works. But using it as currencies, cryptographic currencies, many of them basically follow the same kind of principle.
I see. All right. Yes. Interesting. So, and of course, the decentralized manner, or the fact that it is decentralized is what makes it even more attractive to a lot of people, as you say, because obviously if one system goes down, all the other systems are not down, which is the exact opposite of if a bank gets burnt, or maybe a bank, gets closed down and then the money is gone, so yeah. Very interesting bit.
Or an interesting thing, in some countries currently where there's a lot of devaluation going on. So if you go to some country like Venezuela, okay, and you find out that, all of a sudden, either inflation has caused, your money that you work for to become almost valueless. You understand? And you're being paid in bundles of notes just to buy basic food essentials.
That is quite sad. I do understand. It's
quite sad. But then also there's an interesting thing that has happened over the years. What has happened, if you look at money generally, and this is one of the beautiful things that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, generally, especially the ones that are used as actual currencies, are trying to solve, isn't that if you look at every currency that has been printed by every government in the world, they have always eventually gone literally to zero.
I see.
Every currency over time literally goes to zero. And a number of factors cause this. Part of it is inflation, economic cycles, and also the way that money is actually fiat money. The way fiat money is used is such that the way it is used, that the money eventually sort of goes back to the government, You pay,
Okay.
there are taxes which are okay. We should pay our taxes. This is not to say we shouldn't pay our taxes, but
Mhm.
the way money is used, I'll give an example. During COVID, the US government has printed more money than literally in the entire history of the US, in the entirety of US's, America's history. Okay.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
the amount that has been printed. So what happens is a country's GDP doesn't just grow at the rate at which money is being printed currently. And that's not just with regards to America, it's also with regards to the UK and countries around the world. Okay. And this is an example. For example, I've just mentioned COVID, but also remember a few years ago we had the major banking crisis around the world, where we had a credit crisis, and governments printed money
Just to be able to match up with you to combat the crisis, basically.
Exactly.
Wasn't that 2008? I think, when there was that issue of the mortgage,
exactly.
situation.
Exactly. Yeah. So what happened is your money has now been devalued.
Right.
In your pocket, okay, as a result of that. Whereas one of the things with Bitcoin particularly is that when it was engineered and designed, it was only ever going to have a limited supply, which is the true definition of money. It should actually just have a fixed limited supply, so that the value is quote unquote fixed in that regard. Okay. Nobody can just print more.
Yeah.
Secondly, if you look at some of these currencies, they serve as universal currencies. They're not owned by a single government. US dollar, the GBP. So therefore, the influence of one nation state over the currency is limited.
Interesting.
So
I find that very interesting, because sorry to interrupt you, if I just reel back to Africa fairly quickly, we have this 13 French-speaking African countries, 13 or more, I don't know now the top of my head, that have their currencies printed in France. Basically, France technically owns them. It doesn't sound good to the ear, but it is what it is. It does not sound right. Exactly. So these countries could literally rely on the cryptoverse or crypto universe.
In fact, there's a very good example of this. As we're speaking mainly as using cryptocurrencies, and not just the underlying technologies, which we can talk about much, in much more depth
later. Yeah.
So recently, El Salvador, decided to accept Bitcoin as full legal tender, and made it mandatory that shops should be able to accept it at the counter.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know about this. So, how recent is this?
So this is about 2.5 months? I would say about 3 months, 2.5 months. Yes. I'll mention, before we finish, a couple of channels that are really good to follow.
Okay.
Of course, as we say, in the cryptosphere, do your own research.
Yeah, exactly. DYOR. Yes. I mentioned this to a couple of friends. I dropped some names of some coins, the way we drop the abbreviated names, SNX, BTC, and then I put a comma, DYOR. And the response I got was, what coin is that? And I for me, it was a simple question, and I answered. I was like, oh, but before I was able to answer, the other friends in the group were like, oh my God, they basically made fun of this friend of ours. And I was like, guys, calm down. DYOR simply means do your own research. It's become an acronym that has been, that has become important, not just to crypto world, but to anything, to anything. But anyway, sorry to interrupt you, Gbola. Go ahead.
Not a problem. So what happened was, and I'll reference back to, when you said, oh, some people said, maybe it was Elon Musk is Satoshi Nakamoto. It's not possible. So in fact, there was a time Elon Musk raised some concerns about Bitcoin. That he felt that because his companies pioneer or aim to pioneer or state that they are very much into green energy,
Yes.
okay, and the conservation and proper use, efficient use of energy.
Yeah.
And he raised a concern, which caused some turbulence in the cryptocurrency markets, that Bitcoin you consume too much energy, and he raised a number of issues. Now later, there were debates about it, and he agreed to come on online for an online debate with the former CEO of Twitter, who just stepped down now, okay, and has gone fully cryptocurrency. But what happened was, part of the issues that came out of that was a concern that about energy consumption. So El Salvador then came out and said they intend to use volcanic energy.
I see.
Power mining, and that is what they've done, because volcanic energy is basically energy that is literally untapped. People, basically, you understand? And so that is part of what El Salvador are now pushing on the front, with the in terms of they're actually mining as a government. They are mining Bitcoin. As an institution, they are mining Bitcoin. Now, when they came up with this, and El Salvador said that, okay, they're going to make, of course, as legal tender, certain countries, developed countries such as the US, etc., were not too happy with this, and certain monetary bodies.
Interesting.
Okay. But El Salvador, decided to still go ahead. So presently, it is official legal tender in El Salvador. So these are the beginnings of where you now have not just individuals. Initially people would say, oh, it's people that are doing illegal activities that use Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Okay. Maybe, of course, with every good thing, there will be one or two bad actors and characters.
Of course, yeah.
It's the nature of human beings and technology, new technology. It's the same thing when the internet started. Certain people try to basically take advantage and things like that. So what we have is a case where people thought, okay, it was used for illegal activities, then people realized, okay, there was much more to it, individuals, then corporations. And at a time, certain banks, and heads of banks, for example, I believe JP Morgan said, if they find any of their staff dealing in cryptocurrencies or buying Bitcoin, they'll fire them.
Did they not eat back their words? I thought the same person that said it, did they not eat back their words?
They did.
There you go.
Not only did they eat their words, JP Morgan as an institution not only developed blockchain, but also there was a JP Morgan coin.
I see.
So that shows the evolution of that. Then about 2 years ago, Visa and MasterCard were like, oh no, we don't have anything with cryptocurrencies, we're not touching that stuff doesn't work, etc. Now it's a race between JP Morgan and Visa in terms of how quickly they can take on these developments as currencies. Okay, then you have PayPal.
I know about PayPal's.
Good. PayPal is quite interesting. I remember, recently, I haven't followed, the most recent developments over the last, I'll say maybe 3 months with regards to them. But prior to that, what happened with PayPal was like, okay, we have to get on this bandwagon now. Okay.
Yeah.
But what they said was they approached it interestingly, like, okay, you could make payments with cryptocurrencies, but what would happen is that you were not going to get the difference in the payments. You couldn't basically take cryptocurrencies out. You could take the equivalent in cash.
I see.
Yes. So for example, if I paid you, maybe, for something, or if I put, let's say BTC in, I use BTC, I couldn't take BTC out.
Yeah, you would only be able to take the equivalent in cash for that day, the equivalent at that day, because the price is constantly, got you.
So the question is why? And because they could just simply give you the equivalent of the BTC in terms of, okay, is it 0.1 or 0.0, whatever it is.
Yep.
And the reason is because it became a race and it is still a race by the different institutions to acquire as much of certain cryptocurrencies like BTC
as possible. Yeah.
Yes, before the full cap is reached.
I see.
On BTC, and this is why the race is on with regards to Bitcoin as a cryptocurrency. Okay. Now, you do also have other cryptocurrencies. It's important to note that there are other cryptocurrencies.
Of course, yeah.
There's Ethereum, there's Litecoin, there's Luna,
there's Solana.
Yeah. And each of them, some are almost copies of the other. So, for example, Litecoin, which a lot of people liked, was because Litecoin was a copy of Bitcoin.
I see.
Except that they, certain changes, were adopted, okay, so that it was faster, because Bitcoin is somewhat slow. If I send you a transaction, it might take some time. The other time, it could take up to half an hour. And it simply wouldn't serve the purpose of everyday transactions.
Yeah.
Okay, you need money. Okay, maybe you want to pay for coffee. You're at the coffee shop. They've served you coffee. It takes half an hour for the payment to go from your phone to the coffee. Your coffee is already, to the coffee shop. Your coffee is already cold.
It's already cold. That's the end of the coffee.
Exactly. That's the end of the coffee. It's not practicable for everyday purpose in terms of, in terms of micro payments. So, and as a result of this, it kind of opened the way for other cryptocurrencies that could be faster, that the charges were less.
Yep.
Okay, and that could be used for micro payments and everyday transactions, paying for coffee, paying for taxis, etc.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is where you now started to see, Bitcoin Cash turned up. Like I said, there was also Litecoin.
Yep.
Okay. And then from there, other people decided, we don't want to be a copy of Bitcoin. We want to do ours. Want to do ours. And of course, you then had Ethereum.
Yes.
That came up. And Ethereum right now has much more broader use cases.
Apparently, I did hear about that. Yes.
Entire major industries are being created on Ethereum blockchain. Also on Solana, but the initial pioneer for such was Ethereum.
Interesting.
Yes.
I find Solana very interesting, right? Because not that I know so much about Solana. I mean, again, DYOR, do your own research.
Yeah.
I looked at it. I listened to some of this YouTubers, this good YouTubers. One of them, I think you actually pointed out to me, is very well known.
Which one is that?
Ivan on Tech.
Okay, Ivan on Tech.
Yeah. Yes. So I'd heard from Ivan on Tech, and I heard from can't quite remember the name now. This guy, I think he's South African.
Crypto Manran. I recommended Crypto Manran to you. Crypto Banter.
That's the one. Crypto Banter. He has a South African accent.
Yes. If you want to be very current, everyday things happening.
That would be Crypto Banter, right?
Crypto Banter, and Elio Trades.
Elio Trades, yes. And I think I heard about Solana from Ivan on Tech, because Ivan on Tech, I took him so serious. And then he decided to sort of, transition a bit into, I don't know, he still does his YouTube, but he was beginning to spend less time on the YouTube channel to something else now, more of training people actually, which is also good. But anyway, I heard about Solana from him, and also heard about Solana from this African guy that you also talked about, Ian Balina.
Okay, Ian Balina. Okay.
Very, very good. He has this channel called
Token Metrics.
What's his channel? Token Metrics. Yeah, himself and Bill. That's one of the guys on his Token Metrics. Bill, and then there's another guy now, Forrest or something. Those three guys are solid. So I had heard from these two channels, Ivan on Tech, Ian Balina, Token Metrics, about Solana, and I thought, okay, I'll get me some Solana. I've lost out on Bitcoin. I'll get me some Solana. And that was what I did. And I forgot about Solana.
Oh,
I
wow.
got some.
You're rich now.
I am. I am. Honestly, because I got it and I just thought, okay, it's there. And then, but I didn't get much, but I got enough. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah,
because how much was Solana when I got it? Probably $1 or so, $1 or 50 cents, one of them.
Oh my
and
God.
I was like, I'm not sure about this coin, but let me just get this little amount. So I got very little amount, more than 10. So fingers crossed, way more than 10. I think I got 20 or 25. I can't remember now, but I need to check again, because what I do is I also stake. But anyway, I got Solana and I just left it there because I was concentrating on other coins, like, oh my God, my Ethereum, when is it going up? Ethereum, Bitcoin, when is it going up? So this is the lesson for me. Sometimes some of these underdogs, right? When you listen to this technical people and you hear the use case of the coins, then, I would say to myself, again, do your own research and then give it a try. So I'm okay with Solana now, and what it's doing now is just basically growing on its own. And what do I mean by growing on its own? I'm just staking it, really. I'm not even touching it. I'm not selling. I'm staking. Another one that has proved to be really good is Matic. So when I got it, it was called Polygon. Someone talked about it. One of these guys as well. I think it was Elio Trades. And and from the comments, people were like, "Oh, this is just fake," blah blah blah. People were laughing at it, but I was like, I decided to do my own research, and I'm like, I'll get me some. How much was Polygon? 0.05. So I got me quite a size. Because what's 0.05? Do you understand? I got me a good chunk of Matic, of Polygon. Then it became Matic. When I saw that it jumped from 0.05 to $1, oh my goodness, I started to dance. Like, what? This is insane. Well, imagine spending $5 or £5 for something, and then it goes into the thousands. That's insane.
So I would recommend that you hold on to your Matic.
I am. I'm not touching it. I'm staking it.
yes. But apart from that, there's about to be some good news with regards to Matic. I believe over the next few days.
Okay.
With regards to Matic, so I would definitely hold on to Matic. It's likely to pump more. It started pumping, I think, as at yesterday.
Right.
And it will likely pump a bit more, because I do believe that they're about to, release some information that's related to roll-ups. What's called what is referred to as roll-ups, optimistic roll-ups. And basically, for your viewers, what roll-ups means is that, so Matic, for example, is referred to as a layer 2. It works on top of Ethereum. The challenge with Ethereum is that Ethereum uses a different technology from Bitcoin. It's faster, and its use case is being used by so many things. For example, decentralized finance, NFTs, which are non-fungible tokens. But because now people have created so many industries on top of it, so many people everywhere using it, and huge industries actually, floating on top of it, it doesn't have the capacity, the speed capacity to cater for the volume. So because of this, other technologies have come and decided, we will use the technology of Ethereum, which is referred to as a layer 1. And they sit on top of it as a layer 2. And what happens is, when Ethereum normally would do certain computations, which is what causes it to take some time, those computations would be offloaded off of Ethereum onto the layer 2s, which are able to do those computations much faster. And then the results or feedback that's required is then sent back to Ethereum. So this is what we generally refer to as layer 2s. Now, within the layer 2 realms, because so many industries are built on Ethereum, so much value is now locked into Ethereum, Okay, Ethereum is here to stay.
Yeah.
And we could have hours and days of discussions just on Ethereum alone and industries that are on it. For example, decentralized finance, which is literally cannot taken will potentially be the biggest risk to the banking, the normal centralized banking.
They are. Yes.
But I don't want to go too far, today on your, because of your viewers, but that's just one use case. Another use case is NFTs, which we might talk about a little later if we do have some time. But
we will talk about NFT for sure. Probably even have another session on NFT, because it's something people really want to know about.
It's going to be everything, literally. NFTs are going to be they change the world. It's the next frontier. That are metaverse. Metaverses are going to eat up cryptos.
Really?
Yes. NFTs and gaming are going to eat up cryptos with metaverses. Okay. Yes, because it is the application of all these things that have been happening over the years, and now we have the use cases, not just the technologies, because
but the use case.
Exactly. We have use cases. Initially, what was happening is the technology was there, but apart from me sending it to you and you sending it to me as a currency, okay, we didn't really have other use cases. Now we do. Okay, so there's an explosion it's like a volcano about to erupt. And it's like you go to a buffet. Okay, or let's say it's sales. Okay, you go to the most expensive shop in the world. Let's say maybe Harrods, or an amazing expensive boutique, and there's a sales, and it's the first person in gets the best sales. So the first person if you can quickly see, just like you said, you can quickly find the Solanas when they were at $1 or 0.05. I mean, Solana right now is 221.
To something, yeah.
Yes, and it's still Solana will likely go to 1,000.
Are you joking?
If we go to a peak this year, if we have a full cycle, in this Bitcoin cycle, it's very likely Solana. A lot of the estimations that Solana would do it at 4x, 4 to 5x. So hold on to your Solana.
I am. I'm not touching it.
Okay.
I'm not touching it.
Now, so
this is interesting.
Back to the issue of the layer 2s. What's happening is that these layer 2s. So let me quickly touch on Solana. Yes. Because Ethereum became slow as an everyday for everyday use purposes. Okay, Ethereum could not handle the volume. All of a sudden, so many people woke up and said, "Wow, Ethereum can do stuff." For example, decentralized finance. You can earn, 400%, on your savings, on your cryptos, whereas you're earning 2% in the bank. So people started to flood. You have decentralized finance. You can lock up money. There are loaning protocols where you can take your cryptos, stake them, or provide them as liquidity for other people to loan. And there's no bank. Everything is controlled by smart contracts.
That is right.
No financial institution. All you have is the association that governs the network. Okay, and you have smart contracts. Once the smart contracts have been proofed and vetted, you're good to go. The risk you have is if the smart contract gets hacked, then you can lose everything, because there were no governments to save your money. And that is the inherent risk. You have to be a risk taker to be in the environment of cryptos.
That is correct.
The idea is to know your risk tolerance level and to take calculated risks that you feel you can afford to lose if it goes.
And that's very important to stress, because people do say, "Oh, it's risky. It's the volatility is really high," and it's correct. Risky, volatility is high as well. But just like any other financial investments out there, again, not a financial advice to go ahead and get into crypto or anything. Please, whoever's listening, do your own research and go ahead and make your own choice, whatever you want to do.
Exactly.
but this is information that we're just sharing and discussing.
Yes.
So yeah, because even when you, I remember just recently, well, not recently, a couple of years ago, I decided I was going to invest in stocks in the UK. So I decided to use Barclays Bank. I bank with Barclays, not even just Barclays or even in the UK. I have stocks in Nigeria. My goodness, I don't even know what they're worth now. I've always been investing in stocks. But you know, 1 minute it looks good. The next minute it's wiped out. Yes. I remember investing in an oil company that has gone down now. I invested not too much, but you know, it's one of those things that they say, be prepared if anything happens. You know, your stocks will go down, you know, and could be wiped out, or it could go up. This company, Afren is the name. They don't exist anymore because of some situation that happened with the management and so on and so forth. But they don't exist anymore. But these guys were literally the belle of the ball just 2013, 14, 15, you know. Or possibly, I take the 15 back, I would say between 2010 and 2014, they were the belle of the ball in, you know, in the energy space, in the oil and gas space, you know, Afren. But where's Afren today? You see what I mean? And where's my money?
that's the risk of, you know,
of investing.
But you know what they say, you know, fortune favors the bold.
True.
You know, so and that brings me to something like in cryptos. The idea is spread small seeds. If you can find the right seeds early, spread them 0.05, you know, if you can find the, you know, the early Solanas, the early Matics.
Yeah.
And co. And I would try and drop a bit of alpha before going, before we end this session. But quickly back to Solana and Matic and the layer 2s. Yeah. So what happens is, because of the challenges on Ethereum, so when Solana was designed, it was designed totally different. It uses a different concept. It uses a clock mechanism which updates, I believe, once every 400 milliseconds. Okay. You know, and so on. So its mechanism is kind of different, but it's fast and it's super cheap to do transactions. Right. So one of the challenges with Ethereum is that Ethereum works better than it has a lot more use cases, you know, quite a number of use cases, unlike Bitcoin, okay? Yeah. But doing a transaction is expensive on Ethereum. You could decide to, you know, buy, let's say, for example, Super Farm, which is a very good farm, and I would, you know, not financial advice, but, you know, you may want to.
You know, I got Super Farm and then I dumped it.
Oh, you may want to pick it up. You know.
Okay, that's a good one. Yeah, maybe because you're Elio's fan.
No, I follow Elio. I call him the gentleman of crypto.
He really is.
Yes. However, I do, you know, I almost religiously follow certain other channels like Crypto Banter.
Crypto Banter, you know,
I follow Alex Becker. So each of them, you know, have their own thing. Elio is, you know, phenomenal at finding what's about to happen.
Right.
The new trend that you know others may not have spotted. He's been talking about NFTs like for 4 years and gaming.
He has. That is so true. Yeah.
Crypto Man Ran is literally in his own space when it comes to what's hot right now. What's hot that is cooking, but you haven't seen.
I see.
Do you understand? Apart from that, he has a phenomenal heart for, you know, encouraging his community and things like that. And then Alex Becker is, you know, he basically is only about gaming.
I see.
Gaming coins, gaming industry, what, you know, how to look for what might be the next hottest game. You understand? So each of them have their use cases. You know, even Ivan on Tech. I did courses, you know, under Ivan on Tech's Academy, you know, as part of my foray into, you know, this whole space. I did several courses there to give me a better understanding about it. So, you know, he's a trainer, especially.
He is a trainer.
If you're a developer, you know, definitely, you know, I would say look at the courses there. He's got some of the best courses you can find, and, you know, in terms of people who have gone through his courses, you know,
Right.
I want to quickly wrap up on on the issue of Solana and the L2s.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Solana works phenomenally fast, beautifully fast. Okay, and transaction costs are cheap. So, for example, if you're trading between two coins, maybe USDC,
Yep.
and you're buying Solana, you can buy tens of thousands of Solana, and maybe it'll cost you 0.0002. Maybe it costs like 1 cent, equivalent of 1 cent or 2 cents. Whereas you do on Ethereum, you're lucky if you're not paying 70.
If you're not paying $80, I know.
It's too expensive.
It is too
for the
expensive.
everyday Joe, people that are not rich. If you're rich and you're dealing with hundreds of thousands, not a problem. And that's one of the beauties of Solana. So what's happened is these layer 2s, which are on top of Ethereum, are attempting to present the same.
I actually got bumped off a fair bit. Can you take that back? A call came in for me, so I got bumped off for a second. Yeah,
not a problem. So I was saying, Solana is phenomenally fast. Transactions are cheap.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
You can use, for example, USDC to buy, let's say, Solana or other coins on the network, and it will cost you a fraction of a cent.
Right.
You try and buy a crypto on Ethereum. Okay. For example, it's painful.
It is.
Unless you're very rich. You can be spending, there are days I want to do something and it's charging me more than 10% of the actual value of the coins I want to buy. What's the point in that?
Yeah.
Okay. So which is why blockchains like Solana and Luna are fantastic. Okay. However, Solana, it's felt that Solana may not yet be as matured as Ethereum from a security perspective.
Okay.
Ethereum has literally never gone down.
Yeah.
As a network. Solana went down for several hours about 3 weeks ago.
I see.
And
that is not good.
That is not good, especially if worldwide you have major industries which have been built on top of you.
Yeah.
The cost to everyone collectively is huge.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's there is that a lot of these layer 2s that work on Ethereum are attempting to make Ethereum layer 2, such like Matic. Okay. They're attempting to make Ethereum faster because they pull the transactions off of Ethereum and compute them. Okay. But doing the transactions on those layer 2s is cheaper. So if you did it, so that's the goal of the layer 2s, to literally to get you to the kind of speeds and reduce costs that the newer blockchain technologies and currencies are able to achieve.
Okay.
While you still have the security of having Ethereum underneath.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So,
I think that's valuable.
Yeah, that's valuable. So that's kind of what's going on at the moment. I think we may have we're close to running out of time. I'm tempted to touch on.
We are running out of time.
But
you're tempted to touch on what?
NFTs, non-fungible tokens.
Touch upon it briefly, but we definitely need to have a separate session for NFTs because I think it's really important. So if you can touch upon it briefly to give like a teaser for our listeners.
Okay. So NFTs are basically referred to as non-fungible tokens.
Okay.
And what non-fungible means is that you can't replicate it. So for example, if you have $1, every dollar looks identical. Every naira looks identical. Every GBP, £1 is the same as the other. That's fungible. You can replicate. You replicate. Whereas non-fungible is you can't replicate it. That's basically what it means. And NFTs are basically, especially currently, if you look at NFTs like people, when you play a game, okay, and you win something in a game, okay, online, maybe a sword, okay, or some kind of treasure, something, or a new skin in a game, that is in effect an NFT. It represents something, okay, electronically. So literally almost everything eventually will be represented with NFTs in the future. I'll give a simple, funny but real example. Recently, McDonald's US issued an NFT.
McDonald's US?
Yes, which
Okay.
you could mint. You paid for and you minted it. So you mint the NFT. Okay. And that NFT gives you certain rights to take into McDonald's.
Really?
Another one was Times Magazine. They issued some NFTs where if you were able to get hold of that NFT and were fortunate, you would get Times Magazines, I believe, for a certain period. I can't remember all the details anymore.
I
So
see.
people literally, they fight over each other and compete to be the
To
first
get the
one.
NFTs.
Yes. And that causes the gas price, which is the transaction price, to actually, so there's the cost of the NFT and there's the gas price, the transaction price, to actually get the NFT. Because everybody's rushing, people
So the
bid
gas price
higher.
really goes high. Yeah.
And that, yes, and that's a challenge that Ethereum has at the moment. But I'm gonna stop there. But the future
I'm really enjoying this,
the future is NFTs.
Yes.
Yeah,
Metaverse.
and metaverses. I mean, if you can get into metaverses early, and if you can, anybody listen, if you can do research, for example, on how to get into new projects that are using ZK rollups.
Yes.
And
I do
optimistic
have a
rollup,
few. Yeah.
you may be fortunate to get a gold mine that is the equivalent of Solana when it was 1 cent.
Right.
But that's just
Okay.
that's how far I leave, and do your own research.
We need to thank you, Gbola. We need you back. We definitely need to have another session. So let's get this one done first, and then we'll take another day. We'll take 1 day for NFT. We'll take 1 day for Metaverse. We'll take 1 day for marrying the two and everything else in between. There's so much to learn about, this space, and I don't know. It's just, yeah, absolutely. And trust me, even I'm in awe, and it feels like I'm in a candy store because it's never enough. You just want to have everything, but we can't have everything. This is why, again, the DYOR becomes important. Do your own research, just so we don't take the poisonous stuff and we take the good stuff that would help us. And the world just keeps getting younger. And everyone makes exactly.
But spread your bets, in different areas.
Yeah, and that's super important, and that's the hedging, spreading the bets. So yes, well, thank you so much. Oh my goodness, I really don't even want you to go. I feel like I want to keep talking more and more about this, but listen, Gbola, thank you so much for your time today. I've thoroughly enjoyed this. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and but definitely we would have you back. Blue Citron, you're our best friend here. We're definitely having you back. Well, a big thanks to our listeners as well. Thank you so much. And I hope you've learned quite a lot from what Gbola said today. And we're definitely having him back, where we're going to talk more about NFTs, and then we'll talk about the metaverse as well. So please stay tuned, and we'll be back for you. So thank you so much. And until next time, it's Bim from Blue Citron, and do enjoy the rest of your day. Take care. Ciao.